Wait, Kate, do you actually think you're going to meet Tpain? I danced in my car every day to Jason Derulo until I got him to comment. Then I did another series to Chris Brown and got him to post on his story. I'm going to dance every day to Tpain until I meet him. Like, achieving that goal showed people that whatever it is that they want to achieve, no matter like how big or how scary, it is possible if you stay consistent.
It kind of gives people permission to believe again in themselves or what they want to pursue. And gives them the proof.
You know, if they join me, if they judge me, if they hate me, if they like me, whatever it is, I'm going to keep being me. And that's like the message I'm trying to share.
As you continue to do those things, you learn to trust yourself, trust God, trust the process. That just gets strengthened.
I love talking about trust because I think it's a trait that everyone desires. But something I don't feel like is talked about enough is...
Hey y'all, welcome back to UPBEAT. Appreciate you being here listening. I am so excited for this episode with Kade Peterson, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Excited to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we're thrilled that you're here. And hey, I was checking out your Instagram stories right before we jumped on this call. You've had some pretty exciting things, man, meeting up with Tpain, it looks like.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Even hearing you say that is like, it's like I'm still in disbelief of it, even though it just happened. But yeah, we can dive deeper into that during this.
Yeah, I mean, you put in the work. It looks like you did the jamming out to Tpain in your car for like 80 plus days or something like that?
Yep. Yeah, so did a series where I danced in my car every day to Tpain until I met him. And it was just under 90 days until I finally met the man.
Wow. So. Yeah, we could definitely get into that. But first, before we get kind of into the weeds, I want to introduce you to the listeners and make sure they're caught up on who you are. So if you don't mind doing a quick rundown of what it is you do. And I mean, you could talk about the 30-day challenge. You could talk about your Amazon business, whatever you'd want to touch on.
Yeah, so Kade Peterson, I'm from Utah. Most people know me as the guy who does random, sometimes stupid things to get out of his comfort zone. So about 3 years ago, started this journey of doing things to intentionally make myself uncomfortable, whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally, to become the best version of myself. What I've learned is there's no growth that happens inside the comfort zone. So I've just really tried to live outside that comfort zone. And the change that has happened in my life, I'm a completely new person from it. And I've documented this journey on social media, trying to inspire and help other people to do the same, overcome their fears, and become the best version of themselves.
Powerful, powerful message. I can't wait to get deeper into it. But before we get there, I also want to kind of understand what little Kade was like, man. Like, what were you like growing up as a kid, and maybe what kind of nudged you in this direction? Yeah.
So growing up, I'm very creative minded, and I like to do things not normally. So whatever it was, whether it's school, work, play, whatever it was, I like to make life interesting by doing things out of the ordinary. And as a kid, it was kind of just a for fun thing. And then as I've gotten older, I've actually seen like a power in that and living life in a unique way, living life out of the ordinary, normalizing not being normal. And yeah, so growing up, just something that my dad instilled in me at a young age is if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. And I think that applies to every aspect of your life. And so just tried to live life to the fullest. But I would say somewhere along the way of growing up, I developed these fears and things that held me back. So for example, as a kid, I loved dancing. It was a huge passion of mine. It brought so much joy to me. But then somewhere along growing up, I feel like it was in high school, the age where people start caring about other people's opinions, and you start behaving in a certain way to, like, please people. I developed this fear of what other people would think of me. And I came to the realization that, if I want to achieve this goal in my life, I need to overcome that fear. And that was kind of what pushed me into the direction of doing things to intentionally get out of my comfort zone to overcome those fears.
Absolutely love that. So it's kind of baked into your DNA a little bit, and then growing up and having a father who kind of instilled some inspiration that pushed you this direction. Was there like a moment where everything pivoted for you, or where you're just like, okay, I'm going to take this like super freaking seriously now?
Yeah, 1000%. So it was about 3 years ago that I was in a stage of life where I felt like I could be doing more. I was actually, from like outsider's perspective, it would look like I was doing good, but I just always feel like we can always be doing better. And I actually went to a seminar by the Iron Cowboy. And for those who don't know, he's a guy who, insane, like ultra endurance athlete. He he did 100 Ironmans in 100 days. I think one of the most impressive human feats in the history of endurance sports. And in this seminar, he asked the question to the audience, when was the last time you intentionally made yourself uncomfortable? Now, I was in a stage where I was like trying to improve myself, like reading self-help books, making goals. But that was the moment when he asked that question. It was like, I was like, whoa. Why would I intentionally make myself comfortable? Like, the goal of financial freedom and time freedom is to live comfortable. But then as he kept speaking, I realized if you want to live a hard life, make it easy. If you want to live an easy life, make it hard. And so I was like, man, all of the things that make me uncomfortable, I'm avoiding those things, and that's what's holding me back from like becoming better. So I went home that night, started writing down all my fears, all the things that made me uncomfortable. And that's when the Uncomfortable 30 was born, where I did one thing every day for 30 days to get out of my comfort zone. And I stepped out of my comfort zone 3 years ago and basically haven't looked back since.
Amazing, man. There's so many directions to go with that. I mean, number one, it reminded me of a guest I had on the show years ago where we talked about neuroplasticity and like rewiring the brain.
I love that concept.
And that's what you're doing, is like rewiring these neural pathways in your brain and like the way that you think and do things, which already in the last 3 years, I bet you've noticed huge differences.
Yeah.
But the second thing that came to mind was that it's bigger than you. Like, I know we're here to share your story and stuff, but like what you're doing is creating a movement for other people and inspiring them to go outside of their comfort zone. And the 30-day challenge that you did, I mean, I'm sure other people have done 30 days or 3 or a week or whatever it is for them. But have you seen that kind of reception to that, a good reception to what you're doing?
Yeah. When I first started, it was originally, I was just going to do it like by myself, for myself. And my brother's like, dude, you should document this on social media. Like, I think this is a really cool thing that you're trying to do. And I was like, you know what? Like, that would hold me accountable. And also, I do think that there are a lot of people that could benefit from seeing this. Like, I don't know where this is going to take me, but let's do it. So I started documenting it. And yeah, the one of the biggest reasons why I do social media is truly because it is bigger than me. Like the Tpain thing that we'll dive into here in a second, all of these goals, all these things that I'm doing, I can't do them without the people who are supporting me. And also the amount of people who see what I'm doing and are like, you know what, like, I'm going to get out of my comfort zone. I'm going to go do what makes me scared. And then they message me and say, Kade, I did this happened. That brings the most fulfillment to me. Of everything that I do, nothing brings me more joy than seeing other people doing the thing that they fear and overcoming it. It's awesome.
That is awesome. So how is that linked to the Tpain thing? Because somewhere in there that triggered your Tpain story. So I'm wondering what's linking it.
Yeah. Sorry, I was kind of all over the place there.
No,
so
you're good.
With the Tpain thing, obviously, so I'll give some backstory for the listeners to understand what we're talking about when we keep bringing up Tpain. One of my challenges during these 30 days 3 years ago was to dance in my car at a stoplight, because I realized I love to dance. Like, my social media used to be, I wore a mask and I used a fake name because I was so scared of what other people would think. Wow. And that fear would stop me from dancing at stoplights because I was scared about what the other people would think of me. And so what I did to overcome it is I would dance. I would dance, and you know, if they join me, if they judge me, if they hate me, if they like me, whatever it is, I'm going to keep being me. And that's like the message I'm trying to share is live the life that you want to live, not according to what other people like tell you. So I did that in one of my challenges, and it was super freeing. I remember after, like, I was so scared for some reason, like, why be scared of someone's invalid opinion of you? But it's a real thing. I think everyone shares that fear. And I did it and I was like, wow, that felt great. And it did well on social media, and people are like, oh, I do this too. Like, oh, I gotta stop worrying about what other people think. And so I did a series right after that where I danced in my car every day to Jason Derulo until I got him to comment. And it was kind of a fun series because I was so scared, and like developing confidence, overcoming fears. It's like a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger it gets. If you don't use it, you lose it. So like doing these things over and over again, I was developing like more confidence of like, man, it really doesn't matter what people think. Like, I'm going to live the life I want to live. And it was like super empowering. And then on like day 36, he like commented, "You're just watched a bunch of your videos, big vibes, bro." And that was like everything to me. 2 years ago, I was so stoked. I just got Jason Derulo to notice me. And then it helped me realize like what more I'm capable of. Like, wow, I don't care what people think as much anymore. Like, this is really cool. So then I did another series to Chris Brown and got him to post on his story. And that was like, whoa, like next level. Chris Brown, got him to post on his story. And then about 8 months ago, I was like, okay, what, like, I think I could go bigger and I could meet someone. And Tpain came to my mind. And then for about 3 months, I couldn't get it off my mind. I was super scared because like, I didn't know if I could meet him. Like, I just am a normal person, and who knows if he cares to meet me. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna dance every day to Tpain until I meet him. And so then now to answer your question of why it's bigger than just me is, one, I could not have met him without the people who supported me. Every single day, people are in the comments tagging him, saying like, "You got this." You like, it was such a cool group goal achievement where people are checking in every day, you know, seeing how it's going, like motivating me and whatnot. And like achieving that goal showed people that whatever it is that they want to achieve, no matter like how big or how scary, it is possible if you stay consistent. So it really was a group goal, and it was really cool to see all these strangers come together for some random goal of meeting Tpain.
Right. That's incredible. And again, so many directions, but I think one thing that I want to highlight or spotlight is what you just said, just reiterating that it kind of gives people permission to believe again in themselves or what they want to pursue, and gives them the proof like, hey, this happened, you know, and because it happened for you, it can happen for them and for me. And that's a really powerful message to get out there. But another thing I wanted to ask though is, you know, what is it in you that makes it so you're not going to give up? Because I'm sure, I mean, you mentioned 8 months ago. So that's a long time to see. What, you met him yesterday?
It was last week. I posted about it. Yes, it was 5 days ago.
Okay. Yeah. So, and at the time of this recording, it's June 20th. You know, this will probably go out later July, but maybe even into August. Anyway, that's still a long time. 8 months to post consistently, you know, dancing in your car, jamming out to Tpain until you meet him. Would you have done that forever, or like how long? Like, if, you know, what is it that you feel inside, like in that interim where you're not hearing from the artist?
Yeah, that's a funny question, because I did, like, even though there was a lot of support, there were a lot of doubters and a lot of haters, a lot of friends and family who would like approach me and be like, "Wait, Kade, do you actually think you're going to meet Tpain?" And it's like, they're not telling me, "I don't think you're going to meet Tpain," but like that question shows me that they are doubting. They don't know if I will.
Skeptical.
And so many people would comment and say, "This is never going to happen. Like, give it up, give it up." And it is a funny thing, like the difference in the people that believed in me and the people that didn't. But at the end of the day, when your why is strong enough, and if you want something strong enough, like, you'll make it happen. And so, like, what's the secret? How did I get that discipline to stay consistent despite not knowing when it's going to happen, despite people doubting me? And at the end of the day, what I tell people is, motivation it's great and it's fun to be motivated, but it's temporal. Like, you can be listening to this podcast and feel super motivated to go do something. Like, you could feel super motivated to wake up early in the morning and go to the gym, but when that alarm clock goes off, is that motivation still there? Most likely not. So motivation can get you to the starting line, but it's discipline ultimately that will get you to the finish line. And so how do you develop discipline? Like, what Like, I want to be motivated all the time. That would be amazing. But discipline is doing things even when you don't feel like it. And I feel like that's the key to success in every aspect of life, whether it's fitness, like knowledge, finance, like business, relationships, whatever it is. No successful person has ever gotten to where they've gotten by only doing things when they feel like it. So that's the key is discipline, doing things when you don't feel like it. So now, how do you develop discipline? A lot of people think it's something that you're born with, like, oh, this person was born with that. This, like, that person's lucky, they have discipline. When in reality, discipline isn't something that's given. It's something that's learned and earned. And the easiest way to develop discipline is by doing things that you don't want to do. So going back to what we talked about at the beginning, the neuroplasticity and doing things out of the comfort zone, the more that you do things that you don't want to do on a daily basis, the easier it is to stay disciplined on the things that you really need to be doing. Like, if you hit snooze every single morning, chances are later in the day, when there's a task at hand that you don't want to do, it's a lot easier to fall short on that task, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So the more that you can stay consistent in every aspect of life and do things even when you don't want to do them, the easier it is when you are going after whatever goal. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. That's another power hitter. And I would recommend, people rewind and take that in, and make note of how you can apply it in your life today. That's a good strategy. And it goes in with something that I wanted to ask you about, because you're kind of notorious for the quote, or for saying the best time to do something is when you least want to do it. I've seen that you've said that kind of quite a bit.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. So I'm curious, how do you push through the resistance? Because you're going to feel like not wanting to do it. Yeah. So what is that little extra thing that gets you to do the thing?
Yeah, and I it's funny. I wish there was like a secret sauce where I could be like, guys, listen, when you don't want to do something, like, just do this, and all of a sudden you'll do it. There's so many different strategies. There's a book called The 5-Second Rule. I don't know if you've ever read that, where it's like, when the moment when you don't want to do something, yeah, by Mel Robbins, count down to 5 seconds and take action right as you hit 1. David Goggins talks about the callous mind, where the more that you do like the hard thing, the next time you're doing another hard thing, you can lean back on that and use that. And there's so many different ways, but at the end of the day, you got to figure out what works best for you. And I think for me, it's just the repetitiveness of doing hard things, that when I'm in that moment of, man, I really don't want to do this, I know what it feels like to do it and then come out on top. And it's like, okay, I know I need to do it. Like, literally anytime I don't want to do something, I tell myself that exact quote of the best time to do something is when you least want to do it. Like, the days when I don't want to go work out, those are like, whenever I feel that, I'm like, it's kind of like a curse, because I'm like, dang, I know I need to do it. And even if I go and do the workout and it's the worst workout ever, like half energy, not efficient, like that builds you up way more than when you feel like doing it. It's so easy to do things when you feel like doing it, but when you can do things when you don't want to do it, like, it's a very powerful thing. So I wish there was like a secret sauce. Everyone has different methods of doing it. I guess for me, it's just keeping that repetition and doing hard things. And one thing I'll say is I'm not perfect. Like, I still have so many things that I'm working on, and a lot of people think that I'm like immune to fear and discomfort. It's like, no, I'm terrified to do a lot of things, and I'm very uncomfortable doing a lot of things, but that's where the growth happens.
Love that. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. And I would just say we might not have like the secret sauce, but I feel like we are kind of uncovering a blueprint of sorts just in all your answers so far, because we've talked about belief, holding on to hope, discipline, and I would say in your recent answer, momentum is coming to mind. Like,
I think that's a great answer.
You're building momentum, and it's just easier to keep going once the ball is rolling. And there was one other one with momentum. Trust.
What was the last one?
Trust. Yeah, like building trust with yourself gradually as you continue to do those things. You learn to trust yourself, trust God, trust the process. That just gets strengthened.
Yeah. And one thing I would add with the whole trust thing, and I love talking about trust because I think it's a trait that everyone desires. Everyone wants to be trusted. Everyone wants to like be reputable. And when someone like, you know, you commit someone to do something, you want to follow through with them because you want that trust. When someone says, hey, can you keep this secret? Like you want to keep the secret because you want to keep that integrity in every aspect of your life. But something I don't feel like is talked about enough is the lack of trust that we'll have in ourselves. If we tell someone I'm going to do X, we do it because we know the consequence of not doing it is losing trust. But if we tell ourselves, hey, tomorrow I'm going to work at this time, and then tomorrow comes and you don't want to do it, like it's so easy to be like, oh, I'm just not going to do it. But we lose our trust with ourselves. The person that you need to be able to trust the most is yourself. Like if people can learn to do the things that they told themselves that they were going to do, even when they don't want to do them, that's where true trust is. That's where true honesty is. And being honest with yourself is so important. I'm not just talking like with commitments to yourself, but also recognizing your weaknesses, recognizing where you fall short, admitting to them and working on them. Like being honest with yourself is such a powerful thing.
Beautifully said. Yeah, it is. And the more you build trust with yourself, the honestly more aligned you are, more happy you are. I appreciate you being vulnerable too and sharing all this and saying that like you're not perfect. You know, I think you know that's something people are probably curious about, just because when you go over to your TikTok, your social media, your Instagram, I think there's a pressure maybe to perform that we all feel to some level. And people don't get to see behind the curtain very often, which I think is important to go there sometimes on the podcast. So is there anything that you would share that kind of lets people see behind the curtain, like what something you struggle with that's not necessarily posted all the time?
Yeah, 1,000%. And I appreciate you asking that question because like you said, social media, it's great, but it can be very crippling. And I think we all are guilty of getting on social media and seeing, you know, what people are doing and comparing our lives to theirs. I mean, the whole process of starting social media and doing what I do started from a very crippling insecurity of what people think of me. And it's crazy to like, if younger Kade 4 years ago could see Kade today, he would be like terrified of like, what, you're doing that? Like, that's crazy. And it's something that I think we're all guilty of is just caring what other people think. Like in every way, shape and form. And I always ask people like, what would you do in your life if other people's opinions of you didn't matter? And people like think, okay, like what would I do if people's opinions didn't matter? And I follow it up and say, well, go do that thing because their opinions don't. And whatever weakness, whatever problem we have, we can overcome it. So like this fear of what other people think, you know, I could have let that consume me for the rest of my life and probably lived a great life. But by addressing it, recognizing that it's a fear and doing things that terrify me, like some of the things that I've done, I look back and I'm like, dang, I actually can't believe I did that. That's terrifying to think. And it's still like something that I try and do. It's why I go on podcasts, is to try and just get comfortable public speaking. Like that's a goal of mine. I want to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. And so coming on a podcast, it can be scary getting questions that you've never been asked, but the more I do it, the more comfortable I get. And I mean, I could go on and on about different things that I'm working on and the way I'm overcoming them is by doing them. What I've learned, so I'm kind of just going on a ramble tangent. I'm passionate about this topic. No, you're good.
Yeah.
But the more that you avoid the thing that you fear, the more control that fear has over your life. So if you do have like social anxiety, for example, the more that you avoid social environments, the more power that fear has over you. But the more that you can face it, the less power it has over you.
Love that. Yeah, actually, I'm forgetting her name, but I saw a video about that, like from a therapist, where she talked about how the more that you put off or avoid those things that kind of challenge you or that bring you anxiety, the smaller and smaller your world becomes.
Yeah.
Whereas the more you embrace it, and the more that you lean into those things and grow through facing the challenges and adversities, the larger and more vast your world is, and the more you can do, and the more you're capable of, and the happier you are, all the things.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
It is.
But it's uncomfortable.
Right. And I like that, comfort in the uncomfortable. What's been, I'm sure you get asked this all the time. I try to strive to ask some questions, at least that people have never been asked. This one's, I'm sure you've been asked a lot, but what's one of the more uncomfortable things you've done? Or I'm sure you have a large list of things, but one or two that have been kind of too far almost.
Yeah. The first ones that come into my head is, there's three that always come in my head whenever I get asked this question. And the reason why I list these three is because they're all unrelated, like totally separate. First one was an hour in the sauna, which is funny because I had all these like Finnish people and wrestlers that were like, oh, that's not hard. And it's like, it goes to show like everyone's comfort zone's different. Like I suck in the heat, and that was miserable. I felt like I was just going to pass out, and I was just like, man, it was, and it's funny that like, I don't recommend that. Like that's almost like too much. And a lot of my challenges, people are like, Kade, how does that help you? But again, just goes to the concept of the more that you do things that are uncomfortable, the more comfortable you are with discomfort. Another one that came to my head was FaceTiming my ex-girlfriend that I hadn't talked to in a year and a half and asking her what my strengths and weaknesses are.
Wow.
That one, again, just calling her was scary enough alone. And when she answered, she was like kind of confused. And just like, you know me better than most, and I was just wondering if you could share with me like a strength and a weakness. And like I don't got bad blood with her, and so she was nice about it, but like that one was just like terrifying.
I think for most people, you couldn't even pay them money to do that.
Yeah. What's funny is I decided like I was going to do that one, and I kept putting it off every day because I just did not want to do it. That was one that took a while for me to do. Another one is I did a pull-up challenge. This is more of a physical one. So, I mean, we're going over all the different phases. Did 1,000 pull-ups in a day. It took me 8 hours, hands like shredded, bleeding, and like just the mental fatigue during that one. That one was definitely the hardest physical challenge. But I would say the challenge where I was the most uncomfortable, which people are surprised when they hear this was the one that I was most uncomfortable, and it goes back again to the fear of what other people think, is I got invited on a date by this girl I'd never met, and we went to do yoga. And first of all, that already alone is uncomfortable. Being with a girl I've never met, going to do yoga, I suck at yoga, that is already uncomfortable. But just to add to it, my roommates somehow convinced me to show up with a shirt and tie, trench coat, dress shoes, and pants. And I showed up to yoga in the most opposite attire to ever exist in a yoga studio, and met this girl and did yoga. And it was like, my heart was racing before meeting her, and I was super scared. But I did it. And then I remember halfway through just like laying on that yoga floor looking up, and I'm like, wow, if I can do this, like what can't I do? And that just goes to show the power of, I mean, yeah, people in the studio were like, what the heck is he doing? But at the end of the day, world still goes round. They're living their life right now. I'm living mine. The only difference is, I overcame something I didn't want to do.
Love that. Do you find that when this is what I thought of when you mentioned laying on your back, like in the yoga studio, just being like, wow, like this is, if I could do this. Do you find that you feel once you've crossed the line, it's just not as bad as what you were making yourself think it was going to be?
1000%. You basically just nailed it on the head with a quote that I always say is, being comfortable is never as bad, nor does it last as long as your brain makes it out to be. And it doesn't matter in whatever instance that is, like to list common fears that people have: public speaking, heights, social interactions, ice baths, whatever it is, before you do that thing, like the scariest part of overcoming the fear is like the 10 seconds before you do it. Like, I don't know, have you ever done an ice bath before?
I have not.
Okay. Well,
but I've jumped into like really, really cold lakes and stuff.
Okay. Well, preface what it's like. And for those listening that had done an ice bath, before doing an ice bath, it's like your brain is trying to talk you out of it. It's like, no, this is horrible. And you're just like psyching yourself up. You get in, it's horrendous. But then after like 10 seconds, you're like, okay, like I'm okay. I'm okay. After 30 seconds, you're like, okay, wait, this isn't as bad as I thought. And that's how it is with everything in life. Like before you do it, your brain does a crazy thing where it comes up with like the worst case scenarios and tries to like do everything to get you not to do it. But then you finish and you're like, oh, okay, that wasn't that bad. Like public speaking, you're like so scared before, and then you finish and you're like, okay, that wasn't that bad. So 1000%.
Love that. Yeah, you're reminded me of a previous guest I had on a couple years ago. Have you ever heard of Kenyon Salo?
Kenyon what?
Salo. S-A-L-O.
I haven't.
So he is a professional parachuter, I guess, skydiver. His job is he's one of the guys that parachutes into the Denver Broncos stadium before the games. Cool. But he had described to me before, that's kind of the feeling like when people are first, getting in the plane and like getting ready to jump for their skydive. But then over time, you build a callus, I guess, to it, because he still gets the butterflies like every single time. It's just not as bad, and he knows that like everything's going to be fine.
Yeah. Fantastic example. Skydiving is a really funny one. Will Smith has a quote where he says the point of maximum danger is the point of like most enjoyment and least amount of fear. Like the scariest part about skydiving is when you're in the plane about to jump out, but then like when you're free falling, you're like having fun, and then you pull the parachute and you're like good. It's the moments before that are always the scariest. Our brains trick us and try and get us to avoid doing uncomfortable things. True.
Couldn't have said that better. On this point, and then we'll pivot into some other things and kind of wrap up, but on this point, I wanted to just highlight that people are people. We're all human. I think that's another thing that comes up with this topic, because no matter who you are, celebrity or not, jumping out the plane is going to feel the same, right? Mm-hmm. We all put our pants on one leg at a time, or we all have to go to the bathroom. There's different ways that you've heard it said where we're all human. And if you are someone public speaking and you mess up, freaking lean into it, and then have everybody in the audience, half of them are going to want to just fully support you and be like, dang, dude, that would freaking, I feel for him, So we are all human. And I just wanted to spotlight that. I think so often our brains also put everybody else on like this huge pedestal, and we make ourselves feel like garbage when that's not the case.
Powerful, dude. Could not have phrased it better. Like, yeah, we all have our weaknesses. We all have our things that make us uncomfortable. And, you see celebrities, you see influencers, you see people doing their thing. And like, I mean, I just said it. I do things on a daily basis to make myself uncomfortable, but I still get scared. I still have fears. I still have my anxieties, we're all human, and we all have the things that we can work on. And by doing the things that make us uncomfortable is how we're going to overcome them.
Right. And well, with the celebrities you've met, just last week being with Tpain, I'm sure he felt pretty human and just normal.
Yeah, I was actually shocked. That man, he's side note, he is the coolest guy, just way chill, down to earth. And it was like crazy just seeing his normal interactions, like meeting his family and like him eating food and just talking normal. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like I grew up listening to this guy for the last 20 years, and he's just a normal human. He's normal.
Right. Yeah, I love that. Cool. Well, I want to pivot here just a little bit and make sure we don't skip over what it is you do for work too with Amazon and all that, and kind of what inspired everything. And then we'll wrap up. But what is it that you do with Amazon, and maybe what advice would you have for people if they were to get started today, or if you were to start fresh today, would that be something you do?
Yeah. Yeah, I love this because everything that I just talked about is because of my businesses. Like the business that I do is what has allowed me to have the time freedom to do the things that I actually enjoy. And so I love talking about this because people think I do content creation full time. Content like social media, that's actually more of just a side gig for fun that I enjoy doing. And it's my business that allows me to have the time freedom and financial freedom to go do the thing that I actually love. So I've had a kind of a crazy entrepreneurial journey, but that's how every entrepreneur is, of trial, error, failing, different business, trying new things. To kind of wrap around how I fell into Amazon, I started selling on Amazon about 6 years ago, my own products, where I design and manufacture them overseas, sell them on Amazon. And that led to me discovering this new business that is kind of a newer business model that most people don't know about, but it's just the funnest thing ever, where brands will pay you to make video reviews of their products. And it sounds crazy, but for example, like this product right here, product that was sent to me by a brand, they send me their product, I get the product for free. I make like a 60-second video and say, hey guys, this is a carabiner. It's also a bottle opener. It's also a fidget toy. And just kind of going over the pros and cons of the product, basically just giving a real review from a real person. And that's what I do for work. It's the craziest thing. I just get every day products showing up on my doorstep. The brands are paying me to send me those products. And then also I take those videos and I upload them to Amazon. So I'm not uploading them to social media. It's totally separate. I'll upload them to Amazon. And then I get paid 2 to 4% commission every time my video is watched and the product is purchased. And one of the most beautiful things about the program is it's free to sign up. It's free to have an account. It's free to receive the products. Like you don't have to spend money. So it's a very unique business model. And it's something that I always recommend to people if they're looking for, a side gig, a little side income that they want to do from home. Or if there's people that do this full time, but it's been super fun. And
dang, man, I'm going to have to look into that.
It's a blast, man. I'm not sure if you saw my story that I posted. What?
Yeah, just tons of packages, yeah.
Yeah, so tomorrow I'm actually doing a garage sale at my house. And it's the first ever free garage sale. So me and my brother have accumulated about $20,000 worth of free product over the last month. And we're just kind of doing a little give back thing where putting all the products out on my driveway and people can come and just take a bunch of products. Because, we got them for free and it's taking over our house, and so it's going to be super fun. It's a very fun business model and great way to make a little bit of money.
That's pretty cool too, to give back and just like do good in that way,
Yeah,
because I'm sure there's going to be people that go there that like really need some of that stuff.
Yeah, and it's like we could easily sell it, and that's what we do is like we sell stuff, but we both just achieve some goals recently. Mine was meeting Tpain and wanted to do something to celebrate, and it's like, what better way to celebrate than give back to those who made it happen for me. Kind of like what we talked about at the beginning, is the goal's a lot bigger than just me. And so yeah, it's going to be fun.
Commendable. Yeah, absolutely love that. In all of this, what's been one of the biggest things or most important things you've learned about yourself in the process?
Yeah, I would say that I'm capable of so much more. I think this goes for everyone. The only limits that we have are the ones that we place on ourselves. Each of us, we have like endless potential. We as human beings, our potential really is endless, but the only limits that we'll have are the ones that we place on ourselves. If we don't think that we can be financially free, then we won't. If we don't think that we can, live a healthy lifestyle, then we won't. And so by doing all of these things, I'm learning, wow, I'm capable of so much more. Kind of like the going to yoga with the girl wearing dress clothes. Like as I was sitting there, I'm like, wow, how much of my life am I missing because of my fear of what other people think of me? And same with business. Like the more that I grow, I'm like, wow, I'm capable of more. And so whatever, the listener right now, whatever it is that they're thinking that they can achieve in life, they can achieve way more. And I wish that's like, if I could go back and tell my younger self something, that's what I'd tell them, is that you're capable of way more, but the only thing that's holding you back is you.
Powerful. Yeah. And there's a word coming to mind there, and that's control. Like learning that you are in control, which is sweet. Is that kind of something you teach on too? Yeah.
We're the author of our own stories. Like no one is going to tell you how to live your life. No one is going to control you. Like you're the one in control. And if you don't take control of your life, then life is going to control you. If you don't have a vision of what it is that you want to achieve, then life is just going to push you in whatever way. But if you know where you want to go, that's going to affect the decisions that you make today. And taking control of your life is what's going to allow you to get to that.
Amazing. I have one more question. It's part of a new segment that I'm planning on bringing to the show, and it is called the meaning segment.
The meaning?
The meaning segment.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm curious, with all of this, what's like the meaning behind it, the deeper meaning for you?
Yep.
And then also with music, is there a song or a band or someone like that that's really resonated with you, and what's the meaning behind that?
My goal and what I feel is my purpose in life is to inspire, help, and influence as many people as possible to be the best versions of themselves. I feel very blessed for the experiences I've had and for the constant discomfort that I've put myself through, because it's truly changed my life. Like I said, if Kade 4 years ago could see Kade today, he would be in disbelief. And I feel like it would be selfish of me to not take my story and share it with people, because it's truly changed my life. And that's why I share it on social media. And if, I get DMs from people every day saying, Kade, I did 10 push-ups today. Kade, I went and said hi to a stranger today. Though that's like what brings me the most fulfillment. It makes me so happy. And so, the listeners, if they ever have any questions, I love talking to people and helping them achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve. I do my best to get to all my DMs, and I'm happy to share wins and share other people's wins with them. So that's like my bigger underlying meaning of everything, is to help as many people as possible to be the best versions of themselves. And as for a song or artist that I resonate with, something that came to mind, I've been on a Tpain grind, so I can't not talk about Tpain.
Right.
Something that I really like about Tpain and that I resonate with him is a lot of people, when he first started his career, he got a lot of hate because he does autotune. He was the pioneer to autotune, and no one really was doing autotune before him. And a lot of people thought he was using it as a crutch because he couldn't actually sing, when in reality, the man can sing. He's got an amazing voice. And he talked about like the reason why he used autotune was to be different. There's tons of people who had great voices, but he just wanted to be different. So he used autotune, and now autotune is insanely popular in today's music. And he was like the guy who started it. And what I really like about that story is he wasn't following what was normal. And even though he had people like Usher, for example, who told him to his face that he effed up music. Like, to hear that from someone of Usher status, like, that's got to be crippling for you. But he did things that weren't normal, and that's what has made him to his success today. And so what I really like about that story and why it resonates with me is I feel like my entire journey is the most not normal thing possible. And I always say, like, normalize not being normal. Why be normal when you can be you? There's only one version of you. Go be you. Like, who has ever made a goal to dance in their car until they meet a fame like Tpain? Like, that's never really been done. It's not a normal thing, but that's what makes life so fun, is living in a not normal way. And we all have the things that, we enjoy in life. And even if it's not normal, who cares? I think the concept of not being normal is very powerful.
It is, man. So much that I want to rant on right there. Man, okay, real quick. I just want to say, I know the not normal thing because my whole story is going viral with a McDonald's cup beatboxing and like having that blow up and change my life and do like have it turn into motivational stuff, which I never saw coming.
Cool.
So you never know what's around the corner is a good message. But then also, I followed, Tpain for years and I knew that he could sing, and I loved one of his collaborations on YouTube with a guy called Kurt Hugo Snyder, where it was all like acoustic. It was not auto-tune anything or electric anything. It was beautiful.
Really? I'm going to have to look at that.
I'll shoot you the link. And then
I'd love to hear it.
Then he was on Masked Singer, and people didn't know who it was, and I'm just like, that's for sure Tpain. Like I know his voice. I felt like I could recognize his voice.
Really?
But that's the thing is, I think on a mass scale, like 90+% of people just knew him for auto-tune,
right,
and not for all the other stuff that he can do and for his actual skills that he does have. So that's a cool story. Thank you for sharing that. And thanks for being on the show, man. We'll link your social media and everything, but is there anything else that you'd want to share or plug before we wrap things up?
I'll just leave you and the audience with an invitation that if something came to your mind during this podcast, a fear of yours or whatever it is, a discomfort, something that's holding you back, that's a sign to go do that thing. The moment you don't want to do something is the moment when you least want to do something is when you should do it. So even if it's something small, you don't have a lot of people when they see my stuff and they think, oh, like that's too much. Everyone's comfort zone is different, and you can start so small. If you're scared to talk to people, go wave at someone. Start something so small, and that's my invitation, is just go get out of that comfort zone.
Love it. Yeah, those thoughts are cues to follow the breadcrumbs from God, I like to say, and just go do it. So that's amazing. Kade Peterson, everyone, and I'm going to do a quick beatbox for you on the way out of here.
Sounds good. Let's hear it.
Thank you, Kade Peterson.
Let's go. No way, bro. You're talking about doing things not normal. I've never had someone do a beatbox on a podcast. That was fire.
Thank you so much, man. And thanks so much for being on Upbeat.